Welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 172 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast, and to the first one of 2022. Yay! Happy New Year to you. I hope the new year has started well for you. Today we're going to talk about planning for the year ahead. But before I get into that, I do want to thank you for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices, and I really do appreciate you making me one of them. And so early in the new year, I appreciate you taking time to listen to podcasts when you'd probably be much more likely to be resting, watching Netflix, or sitting by the pool. This is actually the beginning of my 4th year of podcasting. Totally mind blown. I have done 3 full years, and of course this is year 4. Who would have thought? Definitely not me, that's for sure. When I started this podcast, I had no idea that I would get past about episode 27. But here I am on episode 172. And I thank you for being a listener and enjoying this journey with me. If you're enjoying this podcast, though, I would really love you to take a screenshot and share it on your socials and maybe tag me so that I can cheer you on and become part of your world like you're part of my world. Don't forget, all the show notes for this podcast episode can be found at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/172. I do hope that you've had a break over the Christmas New Year period, or you actually have one planned soon if you happen to be in retail or just been super busy over the Christmas holidays. To be totally honest, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today. I've been thinking, I planned so many episodes prior to Christmas. I haven't actually pulled out the microphone for a little while, and I've been thinking over the last week or so, what am I going to talk about on the first episode for 2022? But then I started to look at the activities that I've been doing over the past 3 weeks. Not working hard, just working a few hours here and there and fitting around me what I wanted to do and what I wanted to get done. So I figured that some of these activities that I've been doing just might be good for you and for your business too. So I thought I'd share and perhaps give you some nudges on how to set up your business for the year ahead, or at least start planning for the year ahead. I probably do the same activities each year in my business at this time of the year. You don't have to wait for a new year to do these things, but for some reason they just become part of what I do when I have this time over Christmas, New Year, end of December, early January. It's when I've got time to do these things, or realistically, it's when I make time to do these things. So here's some things that I've been doing to prepare for 2022, and hopefully they might help you too. The first thing is I changed my whiteboard. I have this big whiteboard in my office and has all my financial income streams on it and possible goals for the year. They're not set in stone, but it's just where my thought bubbles begin. I just pick up a texter and I start doing these thought bubbles, and it really just enables me. I'm a very visual person. Well, I must be, because I really enjoy my whiteboard, and I enjoy looking at it and tailoring it as the year goes on. But at the start of each year, I actually wipe it completely clean and get to start again. I always take a photo of the previous year's whiteboard though before I wipe it clean, just in case there's some undiscovered gold that I wasn't aware of, and so that I can refer back to it to think, was that on last year's, or what did that look like last year? Thinking about your income streams is such an important part of your business. The rule of thumb is that you shouldn't derive more than 30% of your income from one income stream or one client. You need diversity. Heck, if the past 2 years have taught us anything, it is that diversity is one of those keys to success. So how many income streams do you have? Do you think you need to diversify your income streams a little bit more, or do you need to cut down on your income streams? In other words, do you have too many of them? I think about income streams, and I think and I kind of think that I think that's a whole podcast all unto itself. So I've made myself a bit of a note to do a podcast on income streams. But, think about your own income streams now. What do they look like? Where do you write them to keep an eye on them, or to at least put a list? Maybe you need a whiteboard like I do. Another thing that I do at this time of the year is head to my Calendly calendar. So this is where people book appointments with me, discovery calls, podcast interviews, etc., etc. This is the link that I send to people to book appointments with me. And I go in there and I book out all my holidays. So I just mark them out of my calendar so no one can book in my holidays. Now, I do this for the entire year. Of course, this year I had a little tiny dilemma, a personal dilemma, is that I normally go and book out all the school holidays, but I'm no longer a school mum. Like, what the actual frig is that all about? So I've tossed out whether or not I'm allowed to mark out all the school holidays. But after a little bit of thought, of course, I thought, well, it's my business. I can do whatever I want. And after all, university is kind of like school, isn't it? So I go into my Calendly and I book out all the school holidays and all the other times that I don't want to do any work. Maybe it's other personal holidays or other times in the year where I think that I might want to get away. Even if I don't have any holidays just booked now, at least I've got them booked out in my calendar, because my calendar can book 6 months ahead, especially with speaking gigs and things like that. And if I don't do this, then people can book in and then I've got no choice but to do the work, and I have to plan my holidays around my work rather than planning my work around my holidays. If you don't do this, then hop in and make it something that you do every year. It's so important that when we work for ourselves and we own our own businesses, that we mark this stuff out. And I do it for the whole year. I've even marked out where my break starts in December 2022 when I shut down my business. So do it for the whole year and mark it out, including any public holidays. Two other things that I do in my business to keep me organised is I go through Canva and delete photos from my gallery that I no longer need, because I literally have hundreds in there and I really don't need them all. Plus, scrolling to find something becomes very painful if I have too many. And I also go through my emails and delete, unsubscribe, or reach out to those that I haven't spoken to in a while with a quick, hey, how's it going? I also make up rules in my emails so that not everything lands in my inbox, so that I can have things sectioned off into, I guess, into little categories. Because some things I don't want to unsubscribe from, but I don't want them to land in my inbox and fill it up either. Classic example is I use Buffer for scheduling some social media posts, and they've changed what they've been doing recently, or maybe I've updated. I'm not really quite sure how it's working, but now every time Buffer sends something to a social media platform, I get an email. Now I probably have, 7 social media platforms that I post on. So getting 7 emails a day from Buffer to say that my post has gone through is a pain. They used to send you only one if there was an error, but now I seem to be getting them all the time. So I don't want to unsubscribe from that, but I don't want to see it in my inbox. So I've created a rule to say everything from Buffer that's, got this subject line needs to go into this box over here. These 2 things alone make me feel like I'm very productive at this time of the year. Whether it's a good use of my time or not, that's up for debate, but I feel productive. And honestly, there's loads more jobs that I'm working through, like checking my notebook of 2021. Like that's where I take all my notes and my notes from my clients and things like that, and carry over any old tasks or ideas from that notebook into my new notebook. I also go through my to-do list that I had for 2021, and it's, of course, sectioned into extremely urgent, urgent, must do, nice to do. So I go through that and have a bit of a look and see, whether there's tasks on there that still need to be done, that still should be done, or whether they can just disappear into the night and I don't need to do them. And of course, I'm going through my goals for 2021 and reflecting on them, as well as setting new ones for 2022. My goals, if you have listened to my podcast before where I've talked about goals, sit front and center of me every single day of the year. They're actually sticky notes pinned to my board in front of me. I feel that if I look at them every day, I will be reminded of what I'm doing and my why. And where I'm actually going with this business. It's something that really works for me. If it's not something you do, then maybe it's something to try. Get yourself a pin board or sticky notes and just stick them in front of you with your goals on them and see if that helps you with that constant reminder of your why, or where you're actually heading and what you want to achieve in 2022. Talking about my pin board, just looking at it now as I speak about it, that's probably a job for today. I need to tidy it up. There's lots of grand ideas and notes pinned to it and scrappy bits of paper and photos and all sorts of things in there that maybe I just need to have a bit of a tidy up on my pin board and spruce it up and make room for all my great notes for 2022. What jobs do you do to prepare for a new beginning? Like I said earlier, these jobs don't need a new year to do them, but for me, it's something methodical in doing them. It's almost like this is how I prepare for a new year. Just like when you are having babies, if you've had babies, or taking on a new job or moving house, there is a process you go through to get to the new thing. And these are just some of the things that I do that are part of my process at the end of each year or the start of each year that I love doing. I love a new year. I love the cleanliness or the cleanness of a new year. It doesn't look like that in reality. I get that, but it feels like that. And it doesn't mean that I don't set new goals during the year or do tasks like this during the year, but I just like doing them now. I'm going through this process and I'm often reminded of fabulous ideas that I'd forgotten about, or find inspiration in past photos or quotes or ideas or scrappy notes. And I think that's another reason why I love doing it at this time of the year, is finding that inspiration in things that perhaps I'd forgotten about or that I've done in the past, but it's like, wow, I really enjoyed doing that. I'm going to do that again. Or that was such a great idea. I need to, repurpose that particular idea. I'd love you to come into the Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group and tell me about your routine in the new year. What tasks do you do to prepare? Maybe you could inspire me to add tasks to my list of what you do, or maybe you could just inspire my community. So either way, come into the Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group and tell me what your routine looks like at this time of the year for preparing for the year ahead. But before I head off, just a quick reminder about my planning day and my content marketing days in January. If you haven't signed up for them, there's still time. The planning day is on Monday, the 17th of January, and the content planning day is on Thursday, the 20th of January. All those links can be found either in my Instagram bio or at the show notes, which again are at socialmediamarketing.com.au/172. And it's a really great way if you're having trouble or you need some help or some inspiration with setting goals or getting your content planned for 2022, then come along to the workshops. The planning day, you can sign up for that at bit.ly, so bit.ly/virtual planning day 2022. And the content planning day on Thursday, the 20th of January, bit.ly, bit.ly/content planning 2022. I'd love to see you over there. Otherwise, I'll see you next week on the podcast for episode 173. But in the meantime, are we social? Are we hanging out on social media together? If we're not, please come and join me over on social media. Instagram and LinkedIn, you'll find me at Jen Donovan, or actually Instagram is at Jen Donovan _ and Facebook, come and join the Like-Minded Business Owners group. It's a great little community over there. Warms my heart, that little community. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.